Life gives us moments when we have the opportunity to make a choice. And what we choose has the potential to change our lives forever. Join us now for another inspired episode of The Breakthrough. And now, please welcome the creator and host of the show, Jessica Dugas.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Breakthrough Show. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I'm super excited that you're joining us here today. We have a jam-packed show, and this is going to definitely be a show for everybody that is an entrepreneur out there, because we have lots of topics for the entrepreneur. We have lots of fun things to talk about. We have an amazing guest today. Joe Nicassio is here to talk about his journey where he gained it all, he lost it all, and he gained it all again. It's going to be an amazing story to tune into. But I've got a couple of old friends, and we've talked about this before. They're not old as in old. They're just old friends who've come to join me for Hot Topics today. They are the dynamic duo from the Cyberpunk Geeks community on Facebook. We have Pip Seymour joining us today from Seymour Digital Media, and we have Greg McKinnon joining us from Original 72 Creative. Welcome, you guys. I'm so excited to have you here.
You were excited to be here. Well, I am. I don't know about that guy.
I'm excited. I'm excited every time to see you, Jessica.
Yay. Well, it's been a minute because I used to be on Geek Speak with you guys, and Geek Speak is a week in the beginning, long time ago, when you guys did, they do this show as part of their Cyberpunk Geeks community, right? Every Thursday. What time is that at?
11 a.m.
11 a.m.
Pacific time, yep.
You have to be specific because
we're on the West Coast.
Right?
Be specific about Pacific, because some of us aren't sure what time we're in most of the time. But you guys both work in the digital marketing space. And the reason I wanted to have you guys on today is because I know that whole space is really changing a lot with everything that's been going on in the world. You have people, here's the magic P word again, pivoting in their business. And then you also have people that are coming into the digital space for the first time. So I really wanted to hear from you guys from your perspective, because you're right in there. What has it been like, and how are things actually changing in the space?
Greg, you got something?
For me, yeah. I mean, the last probably 3-4 months has been pretty crazy, which is great, because when everything started happening with the pandemic, I was worried, like most people, what's going to happen to work, and will I have money coming in and stuff like that. But in our space, it's been incredible, because so many businesses have tried to adapt to what's going on and have to do a lot more digital marketing to get to people who are now just looking on their computers and not shopping in their stores. So yeah, it's been crazy times for us. I've been doing a ton of web design and web development, adding e-commerce and fielding a lot more people who want to get their businesses on social media and in front of the people who are sitting in front of their computers at home now.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to ask you, is if the e-commerce has expanded. Like, are you seeing more of that now?
Yeah. So many businesses are trying to adapt to provide service that maybe isn't something traditionally you would get online, but you needed to start coming up with a way to continue what you do by providing it through your website.
Yeah, it's put the speed dial on things a little bit for like websites, for video, communications that people have to do, right? And I think people are learning that marketing isn't cheap if it's effective, right? And that you really need to work with people that are like immersed, dedicated, and have some experience. It's, anybody can do a Facebook post, but what's that going to get you? And, I think business owners are looking at what works and what doesn't more than they were before, right? What do you
Yeah,
think?
I mean, that makes sense that, there's a lot of people that swear by, social marketing on social media and that sort of, the know, like, and trust factor, the relationship building and all of that, which is great. But I don't think, and I know that you love to talk about measures, Pip, in your business, and that's a whole other show that we could have just on talking about measures. But I don't think that many of us took it as seriously before now, where it's like everybody's coming to the online space now, and it's so, oh, I guess I should have been paying attention to this. Are you seeing that kind of attitude right now?
A little bit more. I mean, I think marketing's always had this weird ethereal thing where it's like, I think a phrase that used to be used is you just throw things at a wall and see what sticks. And, although you can do that, you can be more systematic. You can't know everything. I mean, technology is changing so quickly that if you're in marketing, it's like this, like, and yeah, there's just so much change and so much happening that you have to keep up to date.
Right now, it's just been that push for any of those people who weren't early adopters, say, of marketing on social media or digital marketing in general, who have had established businesses for a long time and marketed in traditional ways, have now had to immediately adapt to come online and test that out. So that's why the influx, and all of the people who are already doing it are just continuing to do it.
Yeah.
Do you think it creates a more difficult environment, a more competitive environment for the people that have already been online a long time? Do you think that the people that have already been online and in e-commerce online, have to step up their game a little bit, or what do you think as far as that's concerned?
Interesting. The industry is getting, I think, an influx of people. However, they're beginners. And so unless they have, in my humble opinion, a collaborative mindset, like where there's enough work for everybody and we're all learning all the time, I think that's what sets people apart.
I don't know if were you referring more to the businesses coming online or the people who are actually doing the marketing?
The businesses that are coming online, just because it was really interesting. The reason I bring this up is because, I saw a friend of mine who had been offering a particular service for a long period of time. And then, and she really was out there. Like, there were several of us that were saying like, hey, she's got this available, and she was paying for marketing and everything else. And next thing I know, like, you see all these people popping up that are offering the same thing just because it was like the cool thing to do in the moment of, everybody was doing that. And so many people gravitating there, as opposed to having the mindset of, hey, let's stay in my lane and let's build up this person who's been doing this, the whole time, instead of it seemed to me that there was kind of a lack a little bit at the very beginning of that collaboration mindset, like you're talking about, Pip, of like, let's work together and focus on what each of us does really well and point people in that direction, as opposed to like, oh, well, now I do everything because we're all online. You know what I mean?
The interesting thing about digital marketing is you can compete almost immediately with every player that's in the space. If you're doing paid advertising, you pay, you optimize, and you could be in the first, second, third results over people who have been doing that marketing for a long time. So yes, with more people doing digital marketing, there is going to be more competition for keywords and to be, to have your ads pulled up for those things. So in that sense, yes, there's more competition in the space.
We've seen with advertisers on like paid Google ads, it's really interesting because some industries prices have like skyrocketed, like, and it was like a switch of a day. But then other businesses have not. And I mean, there's there's been an influx of change due to COVID, like no word of a lie. Like you can't, we have a client who we built a Shopify site for masks, and they've they've been suspended on Facebook because Facebook has to prove that they have all the documentation saying they're allowed, which they have. They just have to jump through hoops, right? So lots of change, lots of businesses. I mean, I think, what's weird is I think that a lot of business owners or people think, oh my God, I just have to be on Facebook, or Instagram. Well, you know what? If you're a plumber, maybe not, but maybe if you're a plumber, maybe get an e-commerce portion and sell parts that people can order to do it themselves, right? Because more people are at home. So yeah, I think the business pivot's really interesting.
It's a really good point you bring up about, maybe it's time for us to expand our mindset a little bit of where we're marketing, because I was one of those people that was really like, I just don't like being spread all over the place. I'll be honest with you, because it's just me, right? Like it's hard when you're like when you're a one person show, you don't want to be in 50 places because you're like, I can't, like, eventually you get burnt out, you get spread too thin. And so I was very much in the beginning, like, I just need to focus on Facebook and just be on Facebook. And it's so funny because this season on the show, I've made so many connections on LinkedIn, and I hated LinkedIn out the gate. Like I didn't feel like I fit in there. Wasn't for me. And so like, what are is there ways for us to tell, where we should focus our marketing? Is there like a spreadsheet or something for that?
That's a really good question. And, this is why marketers need to collaborate, because you're not going to get it right for everybody. I think that's the truth of it. Hey, Greg, what do you think?
Yeah, it's, this is one of the things where I love, because you really need to know the business you're working for and marketing for really well, so that you can identify where those spaces are that will give the most impact to their digital marketing needs. A company that has a lot of activity on LinkedIn may be doing nothing for them, because a lot of the people that they're trying to get in front of are not going to LinkedIn for that stuff. So really knowing the business, who their target market is, will really identify the path that you will take and the platforms you'll choose to digital market to.
I think that's really important, right? To know your business, know who you're marketing to, and know where they're at. Where are the people that you're marketing to? Because I think it's less about where we're necessarily comfortable, where we want to be, and more about, because obviously we're not going to buy our own stuff, so we need to be where the people are, right?
And also understanding your customers. A lot of our customers, I mean, we have a marketing group on Facebook. Both Greg and I, our customers probably aren't there necessarily, but their friends are there. So that is that whole referral process, right? I mean, there are some clients on there, but yeah, we're on LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn, when it came out, I didn't have to look for a job ever again. I got headhunted. Best experience of my life, LinkedIn, I'll tell you, because you never had to look for a job. However, what that taught me was who's on LinkedIn. People looking for jobs, employees, not necessarily the employer, right? So if you're looking to reach the employer, maybe it is the right place, maybe it's not. It really depends on what you learn about your people.
Well, we're going to be back in just a minute to talk to our guest today, Joe Nicassio, but stay tuned, because at the end of the show, we're going to talk to Greg and Pip again and learn a little bit about their group so that you can go join them, because that was what she just said you should do. So we're going to be back in just a minute with Joe. Hey, Jessica Dugas here, creator, producer, and host of The Breakthrough Show. We have big goals here at the show in the desire to change the world one Breakthrough Show episode at a time. And honestly, we couldn't do it without you. We want to take this moment to give a huge thank you to our Patreon supporters for helping us to not only expand the show, but spread its message far and wide. If you're not a supporter yet, we would love to have you. You can choose any tier with tons of benefits at patreon.com/The Breakthrough Show. We can't wait to have you part of our Breakthrough Show family. And now back to the show. Welcome back to The Breakthrough Show. My special guest today has been working with startup entrepreneurs and seasoned business owners since we were partying like it was 1999. He helps them to align with their passion and create a business they love, and he has an incredible story. I can't wait for him to share it with me, with us. Everyone, please welcome my friend Joe Nicassio to the show, or as I like to call him, Gangsta Joe.
Thanks, Gangsta Jess.
It's so good to finally have you on. I always like that waiting period of when you ask somebody to be on to when we actually do the recording is like, when is it going to happen already?
So here we are.
Here we are. It's gonna be a fun time. So I'm really glad to have you here. To start off the show, I would love for you to share something that's bringing you joy in your life right now. I like to start off the show in a joyful way. So tell us anything that's bringing you joy in your life right now.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is, there's always my success, but I get a thrill out of my clients succeeding. I really love, somebody comes to me, their business is struggling, or they haven't even figured out what business, and then I just made my first sale. Oh, I was able to quit my job now. Oh, all these good things are happening, or, oh, I had a bunch of leads come in. I did that thing and it worked. So I live vicariously through the success of my clients. That really gives me a lot of joy.
I love that. And I was doing an interview earlier with actually someone that I had mentored that has come such a long way in her life, in her business. And it gave me those same kind of giggles knowing that she was thankful for me and I helped her that it does when someone else helps me. So I love that that's, similar to what brings you joy as well. Can you take us back, Joe, to you've been, in business for yourself for quite some time, but take us back to when you first started. Did you always want to be an entrepreneur? Is that something that was always in your spirit?
That's a good question. I was always kind of different, that's for sure, playing, doing my own thing. And as I got into the job world, I really didn't enjoy a lot of the work that I did working for other people. I did a job doing stereo repair back in the day. This is like 1978, okay, 1979. I took all the electronics classes. I loved it. And I worked for a guy, Gary Vodvarka, at Independent Electronics, and he was an entrepreneur. And I really, I think working with him and, is independent electronics, I'm independent, that whole mentality of independence, entrepreneurship. He was a good example. And I like the way he set his own rules and lived by his own code. And I think I kind of got the bug. For entrepreneurship, working for a true entrepreneur.
Yeah, that makes sense. That we say a lot in the personal development world about surrounding yourself with people that that's the kind of life that you want, because their energy can be contagious, and also I think there's so much value in seeing what someone else's journey looks like that is on a similar path to what you want to be on. So that's awesome. How did you know, tell us about the time when your business started to pick up and you really started to be successful, and what was it that you were doing when you first started out?
Well, gosh, I had several businesses. The current business I'm doing, I've been doing since 1999, but I had several other businesses before that. So Independent Electronics, I was doing stereo repair and car stereo installation and repairing, turntables and cassette decks and, all that kind of electronic stuff. But I started, one of the vendors that I was working with, he said, hey, we got a lot of people that want to buy television antennas, and could you install them? So I actually set up a little business installing those TV antennas, and it was a blast. It was a done deal. I didn't have to go out and hunt for customers because he was selling the antenna, and then he would just send the customer my way, and I would go out and give them an estimate, and then, buy low and sell high and install it and add a value to a client's life.
Right.
But, back then it was kind of a part-time thing or a side hustle thing. I had several things going on. My real big success, gosh, there's so many like stories in between that I get you to this point. I worked for other people and that didn't work out. I worked at a job that, let me tell you a story. This was a story that really shaped me.
Sure.
I was selling Apple computers before they had Apple stores. And I was doing very good. I was meeting and beating my quotas. I had very happy customers. People would say, why should I buy from you instead of a big box store? And I would give them my personal page. If you ever have a problem, call me or page me. I don't have all the answers. I'll get you the answers. And if I don't have them, I'll find them for you. And one day, it was a Friday, the manager of the store was on vacation skiing. And so there was another guy, Gary, that was different Gary, that was running the store. And at 2:00 in the afternoon on this Friday, I got a call that my dad had a heart attack. And I asked Gary if I could leave. He said, no, you can't leave. We're shorthanded. And so I worked out till 7. And at 7, I asked again, is it okay if I leave now? And he said, yes. So it was a Friday, and I went and spent the weekend with my father. And then I came back on Monday, and my manager was back, and she asked me, like, where were you on Friday? And I told her, my dad had a heart attack. And I'm like, the way she was asking me, it was like very interrogating. And I'm like, why do you ask? And she says, well, after you left, some guys came into the computer store, and they had masks and weapons, and they locked Gary in the back room, and they took all the computers. And I'm like,
oh my
well,
goodness.
Well, that's like terrible, but I had nothing to do with it.
Right.
So she said, go back to work. And like 4 weeks later, she calls me into her office and says, Joe, we have to terminate your employment. I'm like, why? And she goes, that robbery? And I go, yeah, the one I had nothing to do with. She goes, well, yeah, well, the insurance company, we were insured, and the insurance company wants to pay us, but they can't pay us unless we figured out why this robbery happened and fix it. And you broke a policy that 2 people needed to be in the store at lockup, and you weren't there, so we're terminating your employment. And, it shattered me. I loved that job. I was doing good at that job. I had happy customers. I asked for permission before I left. And it just broke my heart. And I went and talked to an attorney, and the attorney basically said, in California, unless you have a contract, which like 95% of people don't have an employment contract,
right,
you basically have no rights. They can hire, for no reason or any, so one of the lessons was you can get hired for the right reasons, you can get hired for the wrong reasons, and you can get fired for the right reasons, and you can get fired for the wrong reasons. And I got fired for the wrong reasons. And so that kind of made me make a decision that I'm never going to work for other people again if they're not. Why would I build a career knowing that if somebody just wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, I can end up on the curb? It was really devastating to me. And so that's when I made a decision to go out on my own. Well, in the meantime, another company asked me to sell computers for them. I said, well, I'm not going to do it as an employee. Only if I'm an independent contractor, we do a 50-50 profit split. So this is when I started making it. I was hustling, I was working hard, and I made over $200,000 4 years in a row. I made over $1 million. And what happened is I started selling a software called Authorware by Mac Media. It was a really high-end it started off as a $7,000 product, but they dropped it to $5,000. And I was kicking butt. I was selling more than entire stores were selling this product. Okay. And what happened is the place where I was working had a credit line with Sony. because they sold a lot of video equipment, and they actually had like $1 million in debt to Sony. And so Sony said, we're not going to like send you any new product unless you start paying this debt down.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening is I was selling a ton of product, and they were paying Sony so they could get product for other customers, and they started bouncing commission checks to me.
Wow.
Okay. So even though good by the 3 strikes you're out, I walked away because that was unacceptable to me. And the company Macromedia said, we're going to set you up as a value-added reseller. And so I went on to sell that product, and I was very successful. I don't know if I answered your question at this point.
Yes, you did. I was just asking you about that, about as things started to get successful for you. So you're right on track. I think it's really interesting, and it's very reminiscent what you describe about working for other people, with what my husband deals with a lot. And some businesses are more cutthroat than others as far as, their management not being real family friendly, and that's been a challenge for us too, because we have 6 children, and so if things come up with them, or if something happened when my brother and my grandfather passed away the same week, we really were in a struggle because we had to take 2 weeks and try to figure things out when that happened, and so it's really it can be frustrating and definitely a motivator, I think, to if you don't like that, to start working for yourself. So that's really interesting as well. So you're doing really well in the work that you were doing, and tell us about what started to happen, or when things started kind of not working out so well.
So I made a lot of money, and what happened is, there was a combination of things. First of all, I take full responsibility. I made some stupid decisions, okay? I started pumping money into things that I thought were going to work that didn't work. And also simultaneously, the people at Macromedia were not being straight with me about what their plans and intentions were, because they always passed leads on to me of people that showed interest. And then what happened is they had a policy of not selling in-house. They would support their dealers. Right. What happened is they started taking all the sales in-house and just send me the leads they couldn't sell. Simultaneously, I think I put $7,500 into an ad campaign that didn't work. At the time, I didn't know as much about marketing as I thought I did. And so it crashed and burned really bad. I ended up minus $250,000 after it all crashed and burned. And I never filed bankruptcy. What I did is I did as much as I could to pay people back and negotiate things and barter and all kinds of creative stuff. But it took me like 20 years to pay everybody back. It was painful. I went through depression and therapy and all that. But, in that process, I found a mentor, or a mentor found me. And I found Jay Abraham, and he's a marketing genius. And I got to spend 7 years learning marketing from one of the most profound marketing geniuses on the planet. And one of the things he had me do was he'd been conducting marketing think tanks for like 30 years. And so I went to one of his seminars. It was $5,000. I put $500 on a credit card and was just doing the rest on faith, because I was really underwater at the time. And after that first event, which was profound, and I was actually on a hot seat at the seminar, and I really kind of got humiliated about, that was not their intention, but they were asking questions, and I thought I was doing better than I was, and I realized I don't understand this marketing stuff at all. So they asked me if I wanted to go to another event, another $5,000 event, and I said, I can't afford that. And they said, well, can you barter? We know you can't afford it. Can you barter? I said, what could I do? And they said, we need transcription. So they sent me all these audio cassettes of 30 years of marketing think tanks, sorted by 30 different topics. And I listened to them with my hand on a cassette rewind button and yellow pad. And I, word for word, took 30 years of marketing genius and put it onto tablet.
Wow.
And then I typed that stuff for summary and sent it into his office, where it all got compiled into the J. Abraham Marketing Encyclopedia. So I got this amazing education, learning marketing. It was really amazing because it was, you know, I was this smart guy at the electronics and the computers and radio and television, but when it came to marketing at the time, I did not. But I ended up getting immersed in just pure marketing genius, and that stuff started to rub off on me. And after several years of that, I started, you know, at first I was doing this stuff for my own healing. But as I was learning this stuff, I was looking at other businesses. It's like 99 out of 100 businesses were making marketing mistakes, and I wanted to help everybody. To this day, I look at people's business and all I see is mistake.
Yeah.
You know, I see what's working, I see what's not working, and it's no wonder people fail so much in businesses because they are not connected to the principles. They are not connected to the fundamentals, and a lot of people are accidentally successful.
Right.
And so at first I was trying to help myself, and then I realized I wanted to help everybody, and I realized everybody doesn't want to be helped because there's so much ego involved with entrepreneurs. They think they know it all. And so, and also they were like, why should I listen to you? You just lost, you know, a bunch of money. You know, and so even though I had the knowledge, I didn't have the credibility. So I actually started giving advice to people for free or for like almost no very low fees, just to start gathering testimonials and proof. And so to this day, I've got, you know, hundreds and hundreds of testimonials of people that they were struggling. I came in, did an intervention, and we turned things around.
That's awesome. And I wanted to ask you, so back when you were at that point where you lost everything, and this is a question that comes up a lot of times with guests on this show, because they're really, you know, you see people all the time who hit rock bottom, who go through something, and there are people that push through and come back, and sometimes come back greater. And there are people that don't make it. They never pull back. They never figure it out, and they kind of stay stuck. Is there anything that you feel like about yourself that didn't allow you to stay stuck? Do you have like a core value or a belief in yourself? What do you think it was that helped you to push through?
It's funny. I remember, me and my buddy Rick were drinking wine in the back alley in Long Beach, watching the slugs go across the alley. And he goes, "Joe, we finally hit rock bottom, but man, we've climbed a long way to get here." You know, you can go below rock bottom. I don't know. I think there was times when I quit. There was times, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, after you've quit and given up hope, like, what do you do? It's like, I mean, at that time, I was, I think the hardest part of that time was I've learned that depression is anger turned inward. I was so mad at myself. I was pissed at myself. I was angry at myself. I talked crap about myself, and it really put me into a depressed state. Because I'm a smart guy. I'm not supposed to be failing. I'm a smart guy. Smart people aren't supposed to fail.
Right.
You know, and I thought I could think my way out of my problems, and I couldn't. And so I was having deep, dark, depressive dreams, you know, suicidal dreams. You know, I had to walk into the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health and say, I need help. And they put me on antidepressants and all that stuff. And 7 years later, my doctor goes, "There was nothing wrong with you from the day you went in. Because anybody that went through the crap you went through would have been depressed."
Right.
But you know, what I did have, I think the thing that pulled me through is I did get this mentor, and I really did learn some truths, and I really did have faith that I saw that I was able to be of service to other human beings. And so I got to a place where the doctor said, "You don't need to be on antidepressant medications anymore." But it was a rough ride. I think the biggest thing is having the faith, the knowledge that you can make someone else's life better. You know, if you can go wash somebody's dog, you can make their life better. If you can clean somebody's house, you can make their life better. If you can push a lawnmower, you can make somebody's life better. If you can give somebody a massage, you can make somebody's life better. and a lot, that's, I think, the big disconnect, because in business, we spend money on things that make our life better. And so if we want people to pay us money, we need to know that we can make somebody else's life better.
Right.
And then we need to, like, can I make somebody's life a little bit better or a whole bunch better? Or can I be a massive contribution to making somebody's life better?
Right.
And if you can organize yourself to make somebody's life better, not in small ways, but in big ways or huge or massive ways, then compensation can come out of that.
Mm.
And so I think that knowledge that you can make somebody else's life better. You know, Jim Rohn said, if you work on your gifts, they will make room for you.
Mm.
And so I would say the first thing to do is take inventory of what are you good at and how can you make somebody's life better and how can I apply that? Because if I can bring some gifts to the table, then my needs will be taken care of.
Right. Did you ever feel in any of that? Because I know a lot of people are, at least in my circle, are very similar, where they just want to help people. They just want to see, you know, a turnaround in people's lives. And for a lot of people, the issue of with their relationship with money comes up. And they start to say, well, I'm helping people, but I feel guilty about charging more, or I feel guilty about asking for them to pay me, even though I am spending my time. Like there's something like, well, I know this, but I should just be giving it away. Did that ever come up for you, issues with money?
Yeah, I think for me, they came up in different ways, but money comes to those who create value for others. And I think there's just a lot of, part of the problem is we learn money. Like, where did you learn money? Did you learn it from prosperous millionaires that were philanthropists and generous, or did you learn money from, you know, parents that struggled and they cursed each other out when the money was short?
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is, you know, I came up with this quotation that, you know, we are tattooed in our cradles with the beliefs of our tribe.
Mm.
And if your tribe didn't have healthy money beliefs, then sometimes you need to go to a different tribe that does, because, you know, we as we grow up, you know, money doesn't grow on trees, and it takes money to make money. You know, it doesn't take money to make money. It takes
Mm-hmm.
customers to make money.
Right.
A lot part of the work I do is, you know, I have a signature talk that I give that everything you've learned about business is a big fat lie.
Mm.
And so sometimes we need to be challenged around our beliefs around money. You know, people need affirmations. Money comes to me naturally and easily for all the right reasons.
Mm.
If I give a lot, I deserve to be, you know, receive a lot. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done. Everybody that I talk to that has money issues, their money issues are a little bit different. So
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the work I do is,
Yeah.
you know, I work with people on their outer game of how to, like, actually build a business that works. But that inner game stuff, if it's not there, we
Right.
need to clean that stuff up as well.
Right. Right.
I don't know if
Yes, you do. You're doing great, Joe. So I love that you talked about the one mentor you had. Was there any other things that helped you to get to where you are today, of bouncing back? Was there any other tools or you know, mindset practices or anything else other than your mentor?
Well, first of all, I'm a man of many mentors. I have been I think one of the things, I would say one of my secret weapons is I've always had an insatiable curiosity to learn.
Mm.
I've always been hungry to learn, and you know, it's been for a long time, it was a really rough road for me because, you know, even if you have all the pieces, if they don't work together like a machine, you're going to struggle with this money thing. So,
Right.
you know, a lot of people today, they go on the internet and they hear something from Grant Cardone, and then they learn something from Gary Vee, and then they learn something from Tom Hopkins, and then they learn from all these 20 different sources.
Mm-hmm.
But it all doesn't work together as a system. You know, you want to imagine you went to a car trade show, and, you know, you go by the Ferrari booth and they give you an amazing Ferrari engine block,
Mm-hmm.
brand new, state of the art. And then you go by Porsche and they give you brand new, state of the art Porsche pistons. And you go by Mercedes and they give you, you know, a state of the art fuel injector. And then you go back and you try and make all this stuff work together, and it's just not designed to work together. So a lot of people struggle because even though they have all the pieces, they don't have the right pieces that work together as one system.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you feel like when you started out, like the internet wasn't like a thing like it is now? So do you feel like the social media and the blow up of all of that has changed businesses, or is it still the same principles?
Yeah, I think overall it's hurt people. Low tech effective is better than high tech ineffective. Social media for men, there are people that are doing very well with the social media marketing. Like, low tech effective is better than high tech ineffective. The purpose of a business is to create a human customer. And what's happening with a lot of people is they're hiding behind their social media and they're not having the face-to-face interactions and the real conversation with real people. So, the purpose of a business is to create a customer. And as long as you can really connect with somebody and communicate in a way that they understand and appreciate your value, business will happen. The one thing that has not changed is human nature. Human nature is immutable. A human being 500 years ago is no different than a human being 500 years from now. People say, well, do you do ethnic marketing to the African American community? Well, the way I look at it is I don't market to ethnicities, I market to human beings.
Right.
And if you take a lighter, a fire, and you put it under the hand of a black person or a yellow person or a red person or a white person, they're all going to go ouch and pull their hand back.
Right. Because
humans are the same. And I think we get so caught up into the internet marketing versus the human marketing that I have a belief that if you can't sell face to face, you're not going to be able to sell on the internet or through social. Right. You got to have the skills to show people why you can make their life better. And if you can't communicate that, you're going to struggle. And so that's the name of the game, is to understand your customer, understand their frustrations and fears, understand their hopes and dreams. I got a stack of these cards here. Do you know what these are?
Business cards that nobody uses anymore.
They do, but what does one of these cards represent? Every one of these cards represents a human soul with hopes and dreams and frustrations and fears and nightmares. Every one of these represents a human soul. And our job is to get past the card and connect to the spirit and really understand who are these people and what makes them tick. People don't use business cards. I just went to a bunch of business cards. But at the end of the day, people are spirits and they need attention. They need somebody that comes along and understands what's going on with them. And ultimately we're here to help solve other people's problems.
Very true. Very true.
Very simple business ethics is money at the service of others is good. Money at the expense of others is evil. Okay. And when we can get to a place that like you really understand that I am here to make your life better, and you're going to compensate for that, there is a change. Too many people are saying, I need more money. I want to be a millionaire. Okay. And if one hand represents the measure of wealth is receiving money, but it's really the measure of wealth is how much you can give, share, serve, contribute to another. If we can focus on this giving, contributing side, this part will take care of itself. We just need to make sure that it's understood that if I help you do this, that you're going to take care of me and do this.
Right.
And fortunately today in business, a lot of people, I have people that want my help all day long, but they don't want to pay me for it. And that is a problem. That is a spiritual problem, to say, help me out, but I can't afford to give to you.
Right.
Like they go together. And if you want to receive a lot, you must first learn to give a lot.
Mm. It's funny because, like, as I've watched other friends of mine that are entrepreneurs, you know, some of them have been in a place of desperation, of being like having nothing, you know, like, you know, struggling maybe to even to put food on the table at times, and so I watch, you know, just sitting back and seeing how their marketing changes during those times, and it becomes marketing from a space of desperation, of
Not
that want, like, give me, give me, give me, instead of going back to that service and giving. And it's hard when you're, I mean, I don't discount their experience at all, because, like, if you have children, if you have bills to pay, and you're struggling to take care of those things, I get that it's hard to not be in that space of desperation. But I think that's something that, I think it goes along with what you're saying, is we need to, regardless of circumstances, stay in that mindset of giving and service, and then it will be reciprocated, right? There's been you've had so many great points, I think, for anybody who's even ever considered having a business for themselves today, and I'm so appreciative of that. What's next for you? What's on your agenda? What are you working on right now?
My goal is just to help more people. Here's what I tell people. Look, I know there's all these people to spend money with. There are all these phony coaches out there.
Yeah.
And they say, well, I'm going to go study so-and-so's coaching. I'm like, go ahead. And when that doesn't work, come back to me, because then we'll fix the problem and we'll make it work.
Mm.
So for me, my future is really all about continuing to be the real deal, to continue my growth, to continue my effectiveness for my and to the world as business problem solver. If you got a problem, bring it on. We tried this and we tried that. We tried all these things. It's still not working. Well, then we call Joe.
Yeah.
And that's my aspiration, is to be that guy that's that international business coach resource. And I am an international business coach. I got clients in India, Scotland, Croatia, Kuwait. I've got clients in Brazil, Israel. I actually have more clients outside the country than I do inside the country.
So yeah, I think it's a super fun thing to look at when you've got clients all over the place like that, and it really does. I feel like it makes the world a little smaller, makes us a little closer as people, which is nice.
Yeah, I help people that want to be helped, and I help people that have the hunger to really learn the real stuff, and that's why I have clients all over the world. I think in America it is easy to just say, well, I'll just go get a job, or everybody fails in business, so I'll just throw the towel in. And it's not that way for everybody, though. Many people do succeed. This idea that everybody fails in business is just bad inner game.
Yeah.
It's a bad belief. It's a bad thing to buy into. And I come from a completely opposite. I'm like, success is inevitable when you master the basics. There's a difference between necessary and sufficient. Like, if you want to create a fire, you need heat, oxygen, and fuel. Okay, all three are necessary, but 2 out of 3 is insufficient.
Right.
Okay, you need all 3. It's the same thing in business. You need to choose the right business, and you need to brand that business, and you need to really solve a problem, and you need to have an offer that makes sense, and you need to have good storytelling, and you need to promote and get the word out there, and then you need to be really good at closing the sale, and you got to do good work. And if you have all those things, guess what? You will develop a reputation as the real deal, and people will buy from you. And what we want to do is, like, get to this place where I can help you get this result. If you pay me money, I'll help you get this result. And if we get our formulas together, we can do that, and we can do it with some consistency. And so the future for me is just to, I'm very rapidly going from local obscurity to national obscurity and then global obscurity. If I really nail this down, I'm going to have intergalactic obscurity. My goal is just to continue doing good work with my clients. And, when people have that conversation, like, so many coaches are dishonest, it's like, well, I know an honest coach. I know a guy that actually, is the real deal. It's Joe Nicassio. That to me is the most important thing, is to have integrity and be your word and deliver the goodies.
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely. You've given us so much goodness today, Joe, and I'm just so thankful for your time and for sharing with us a little bit about your story, and I just really appreciate you being here. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for thanking me. I appreciate being appreciated.
Absolutely. If you guys want to find out more about Joe Nicassio and what he does, and if you're ready to turn your business around, be sure you click the links in the show notes and go connect with Joe on his website or social media. Thanks so much again, Joe, and we'll be back in a minute for more of The Breakthrough Show. Did you know that the Breakthrough Show Facebook page is home to more than just the Breakthrough Show? We've got monthly shows we like to call Breakthrough Extras, with more inspiring content to facilitate your next big breakthrough. Join Shiraz of Energetic Magic every fourth Monday of the month for Rewriting Reality. During this live show, you'll be able to call into the provided phone number, click the link to video chat, or use the comment section to review your beliefs, revise your stories, and rewrite your reality. You'll be able to watch him help you and others go to your core beliefs and destroy them, just like magic. Find out more information at thebreakthroughshow.com, or tune in live this coming Monday at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern at facebook.com/breakthrough show. And now back to The Breakthrough Show. Welcome back to The Breakthrough Show. Wasn't Joe Nicassio amazing? We were so excited to connect with him, but we're back right now with Pip Seymour and Greg McKinnon from Cyberpunk Geeks on Facebook, and really excited to have them back because I wanted them to tell you how you guys got together for this group. Like, how did it happen that you all decided, oh, let's just start, like, can you even just tell us about the Cyberpunk Geeks name? Like, where did that even come from?
But yes, the name came from.
Tried to change it.
So I would like to change the name to Cyber Geeks Marketing. Take out the punk because it's a little long. We've argued about the name for a while because now there's marketing mixer, which means it's like 4 or 5 words, which is way too long. But yes, so the name comes from cyber, meaning online, digital, geeks, meaning people who love what they do, right? So, and cyberpunk is actually it's like not a theme, what would you call it? A genre. So steampunk and cyberpunk are similar, and I love steampunk, like clothing and the look, not that I look like that. But it's like very Alice in Wonderland / meets like, I don't know, technology.
And isn't it easy to go down the rabbit hole in the digital world?
Ooh, that's good. Save that, cut that, give that to me.
Done.
Right? Oh, that's really good. Yeah. So how we got started? Well, to be honest, I started a business and I work from home. And I clicked a button one day, just a little button on Facebook when the groups came out. And I made a group and I made a graphic in the group, which I'm telling you, it had a giraffe, a clock, some white space, some weird funky. I think I deleted the picture. But anyway, so I invited all these people and somehow I knew Greg like for a second. And he said to me, Pip, what are you doing? And I said, I'm creating a group. I'm just trying it, And he's like, and he tried to be very nice. He was very nice. He said, so can I create your graphics for you? And I said, yeah, okay, well then you get half the group. And here we are today.
Well, I mean, really, that's all. I wonder sometimes, like sometimes I'll see I've done it once and I questioned if it was rude for me to do that because their graphic was horrid. And I'm not even a graphics person, but I recognized that it was horrid. And I was like, I would love to do your graphic for you if you would let me do that. And I was like, God, does that mean that I was saying that theirs was horrible? Like,
it's okay when things suck, and it's okay when people don't know that their stuff stinks. Some of my stuff probably still stinks.
We all know clip art is bad, but this was like she found the worst of the worst clip art somehow.
I was not new to advertising and marketing, but new to creating my own graphics. Guys, Canva was only out for a couple months at that point in time.
Wow.
Let's be real.
That was a long time ago.
I tried my hand at Photoshop. That was like a hard learning curve. So
We're
yeah.
mildly more professional now.
Yeah,
Yes.
a little bit. But there is a business professional that is, and maybe these things are standard to some people, but a lot of people don't know them, which is when you commit to something, you follow through. If you can't follow through, you let the person know before. Things like that. You don't show up late to a meeting because you're leaving people waiting. You follow through on what you say. That's it.
Do you think that some of that is missing in the online space? Like some of that traditional,
not with the right people.
Well, maybe not with the right people, but I see that a lot. I see it a lot, and it ends up being this whole conversation where I'm like, it's not hard to be on time.
It's really easy not to respond to an email or a text message or a tweet or a Facebook message. You just ignore it. You could just not respond to people. Yeah, which happens.
Well, here's the thing: is you got to treat people like you want to be treated, you know. And I like follow through. I like people committing to something, say they're going to do it, and try their hardest, and be humble if you fail, because it's okay. We all fail. I mean, we're all, you know, like it's just a good learning lesson. So yeah, but that was my experience lately. Like, you know, if you say you're gonna get a project, somebody's gonna hire you. And you say you're going to deliver something at this date and this time, deliver it at this date and this time. If you can't say, I'm going to be late on this, and do it before that date and that time.
Right.
It's simple, no?
Yeah. I think it is, but listen, this is another topic that honestly, like, I feel like it's something that I could do a whole show on, because when I first started what I was doing, I really wasn't in a deep business mindset yet. I was like, this might be fun. I wasn't seeing it as a business in my mind yet. And so as things went along, it has become very difficult for me to here comes the word again, to pivot into a, you know, more of a business mindset, and to say, okay, it is not acceptable for me now that my calendar is full. It's not okay for me when someone's 20 minutes late to a Zoom call anymore, because
oh no, you're out.
I can't, like, I don't have time for that anymore. And
no, it shouldn't even be openable that you're gone, you're done. And like, I'll tell you, if you're late with me, I give a little leeway now for sure. And I'll message you, but I notice, like, I you know, it depends on the depth of the relationship. Greg and I, we're in business. So if other business things come up, we understand with each other. We've been in it together so long, but yeah, like you got to show up. And if you don't show up, you get 5 minutes, 10 at max. Yeah. And then you never get called again.
I don't know why we were talking about this.
I went off.
I was talking to you, Jessica, or Pip about this, but we were just talking about this another, you know.
I think we might have talked about it for a minute.
And I was saying, like, even if I am on my way to a meeting and I'm going to be 5 or 10 minutes late,
you let them know.
Traffic, or I got out of the house late or something, I call and I talk to them and say, hey, I'm on my way. I'm running a couple of minutes late, but I'll be there in 5 or 10 minutes. Even if you're only going to be a short amount late, it's just best practice to let people know.
Yeah.
You know, if you just show up late, you look to them like you're just late and you don't care.
Yeah.
You don't care about their business or what they're doing or their time. And I know that and you know, like, so here on the island, we have something called island time.
Yeah.
And island time just means, like, so for instance, if somebody comes to do your electricity stuff, they give you an invoice and you pay them, and they never contact you again. And, you know, but you can pay them. They send you the invoice like 2 weeks later. Like, you're like, seriously? I'm like, we're from Vancouver. You're like, I won't do any work until you pay this, you know? Like,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I mean, I think some of it does depend, like you said, on that relationship with the person. It's really nice to have those relationships. I would still call because that's me. I would still be like, hey, I'm going to be a little bit late because that's just in my nature to do that. But especially if we're talking about, like, if this is a first impression thing, I think it goes beyond any marketing that you could ever do for your business. If you're going to be late, like, call for God's
well, and
sake.
here's another quick point about this. It's like, so if you are late or something does happen like that, don't think you're just affecting that person. You're affecting that person saying things about you, because every person is a potential client or a potential referrer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a tool, if you turn around and and I've had to learn this, I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, I've had bad experiences, right? And I have wanted to lash out, you know, the burn the bridge, torch it versus, you know, you wanting to walk over it again. You always want to walk over it again. Always want to walk. So even if you don't want to work with somebody, you say it in a nice way. You try your best to make sure that your front facing is kind and thoughtful and not about you. Right? So.
Yeah. Awesome points. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole other, I mean, I'm so glad that we got into some of the other marketing stuff today, but I think, like, when we're talking about businesses just starting out, those little details I feel like are so important and are things that should not be overlooked. And you know, before you, like, let's go buy a Google ad before we can even figure out how to be on time for a meeting. Like,
right. Well, this is the thing. People spend so much money before, like, measures. So, okay, you need a website first. We know that. I mean, you can have just a Facebook page if you want, but if you're serious about business, you'll want a website. That's where Greg comes in. Yeah. And then on top of that website, you need content, and that content has to be specific and has to help the search engines. And in order to know what content to write and deliver, you need all the back-end measures. Like, you need your tag manager, you need your Google Analytics, you need your Search Console, you need your Bing Master, Webmaster Tools. You need all these things because they give you information to make smart decisions about your marketing.
Yes. I mean, it's smart to get yourself set up with Greg, and then get your marketing set up with Pip, and then call me if you find yourself that you're not on time for anything ever. We need to have a conversation, because not only does that annoy the living daylights out of me, I can help you with that. We can look at your schedule.
And you do.
We can figure that out together. So you guys have the group, but you have your I like to call it a show, but I know you don't like to call it a show. Every Thursday,
right.
Tell us about Geek Speak and what's coming up on there next week after we do this recording today.
Well, Geek Speak is fun. We pick marketing topics every week. Right, Greg? Right? Greg never knows the topic. Right? Oh, he's silent. Oh, it's true. No, he does. So we do every Thursday at 11, we get on, we chat it up for half an hour. On the third Thursday of the month, we usually have a special guest where we learn about their business. Greg, what is the one we're doing after this show?
We're doing on the 30th, how to find inspiration in your marketing.
It's a good one, right? I think we all
I'm excited for that topic, because I find a lot of the times people maybe get stale in what they're putting out. And this hopefully will be a good topic about how to get inspired with what to say and how to be creative with what your marketing is all about.
So fun, because there's so many avenues, right? So we spend time, and the reason we do this, I think the reason we still love it, Greg, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we're entrepreneurs, and we are at home, working at home, and we've been doing this for years, and we often work alone or with contractors, but we don't get to talk industry talk face to face or video to video, and this just gives us a little bit of reprieve, inspiration. We get to chat, and we don't know everything, that's for sure. But we grow helping each other like this. And we know other people get stuff out of it because they keep coming back.
And that's one of the
'cause
good
I'm
things
funny,
about
though.
our group is that we do have so many people in the web and digital marketing space that there can be literally anybody coming, a newbie or even someone who's a veteran of the space, to come in and
Learn
engage
something.
and ask questions and get information and further your knowledge.
Yeah.
You
It's been-
definitely see, I enjoy that about your group, that there's such a wide range of different types of entrepreneurs in there. From, I've seen a comedian, and then you have me that's on the little more of the woo side, and you see people in marketing, you see people in websites, and you see people in corporate, and they're really, it's such a wide, I mean, if you need to look at, you need an opinion on something that crosses boundaries, that you need to say, okay, who's actually interested in this? I mean, what a great place to go to find that out.
Yeah, it's been really fun because, and I think it's that idea of bringing novice and expert together, because a lot of us, even in marketing, like our novice is like, I don't know how to do TikTok, you know, I don't do Facebook very much, paid, right? And fail and build Shopify sites, but I go to Greg for broken sites.
Yeah.
Yeah, the group is good. I like the group because it's less of a like sales group and like buy my service type thing. It's more of a helping hand, and I know how to do that, or how do you do that?
Yeah.
Type of a community.
And I appreciate that, because there's so many, you know, I understand the importance of selling and we need to do that, but like, I go to groups to learn. And so when I know that I've got a group if I'm looking to learn something that day, I know that I can go to your group and I don't have to worry about, well, I'm not actually going to help you. I'm just going to sell you something. And then like you're done. Right. So it's awesome what you guys are doing. And I'm so glad that one little suggestion for a graphic, doing a graphic, brought you guys together. And I'm glad that I, ran into you guys one day, because I've really enjoyed our relationship and getting to do different projects with you. And I'm so glad that you're finally, after 2 years, are on the Breakthrough Show with me.
Oh my God, that's so true. I remember when you launched it, and I was like, I'll never be on that show. It's too woo-woo for me. And oh God, I eat my words, yeah?
Yes. I'm glad you're doing that now, because we really, we honestly have had some top-notch entrepreneurs this season who really are making a huge splash. And one of the things that I really enjoy, and very similar to how your group is we have so many people on this season that are in very different walks of life, very different situations, extremely different businesses. Like, we had 2 people from Kenya and all over the world, and we all are going through the same things. There's so much more that ties us together and can bring us together if we choose to see that, than to separate us. And isn't that a great message for right now? Because, I think everybody wants us to find things to pull us apart instead of together. And so, you guys are here. You may not be, Pip may not be the wooest person on the planet, but you'll have something amazing in common with a couple of my friends that'll be on next week, even though it's completely different.
Right. And to be honest, you've opened up that door a little. You're inspirational, my friend. So.
Thank you so much. Well, it was awesome having you guys on today. I really appreciate you being here and sharing your thoughts with us. And I hope that you'll come on again, and it'll be even more fun.
Of course we will. Right, Greg? Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I also want to give a huge thank you to our special guest today, Joe Nicassio. Be sure you check the show notes for all the information from Joe, from Pip, from Greg, how you can connect with them, join their communities, buy from them, because why not? Everybody's buying in the online space right now anyway. That would be fantastic. And I want to give you a little bit of a heads up. So next week we have, speaking of woo, it's going to be a little bit more of a woo show next week, which I'm really excited about. We have Sylvia Moss on, who has been in the energy worker field for a really long time, you guys, and she is amazing. I have one of her books called Angels of New York, where she took some beautiful photography of angels around New York City, fantastic book, and she's just an amazing human being. We also are welcoming back to the show Kat Stomska, a good friend of mine, who is coming out with something really exciting that she is going to be sharing with us. So really excited to welcome her back to the show. Until next week, guys, please take a moment to rate, subscribe, comment, and share where available, and make every day a great day for a breakthrough. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Breakthrough. Please visit our website at www.thebreakthroughshow.com. And be sure to join our After the Breakthrough community powered by Patreon. We look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same place for another inspiring episode.